In your home or building, if you have multiple separate systems, automation, security, energy, multimedia, all speaking different protocols, they can now be unified and controlled on a single automation server, fully integrated with one another. One device manages them all, and if needed, it works locally, in your home or building, even without internet. This application takes on two jobs. The first is emergency lighting. When the power fails or a fire breaks out, these are the fittings that light the way out. A matter of life safety, and regulations such as EN 5172 require them to be tested regularly and every test to be recorded. Testing hundreds of fittings by hand and keeping those records is a real burden. A test gets missed, a battery quietly dies, the paperwork drifts apart. The application shoulders that burden. It runs the test itself, watches for faults, turns the results into compliant reports, and shows each fitting's live state on the building's graphic screen. The second job is the ordinary lighting that talks over DALI. The application looks after not only the emergency fittings, but the building's everyday DALI lighting too, tracking each lamp and ballast fault one by one, reporting them, and putting the state on that same screen. So the health of both the emergency and the everyday lighting is visible from one place. It runs both jobs on the server itself, on site, with no dependence on the cloud. A single site can hold DALI-KNX gateways from different makers side by side, and the application manages them all from one place. At its heart is a simple idea. Every manufacturer runs through its own separate driver. If one maker updates its device, or behaves a little differently, only its own driver is affected. The other brands on site aren't touched at all. That clean separation lets you run different makers together in one building with real confidence and add new brands over time without disturbing what's already there. The application starts the required test on the schedule you set. If you like, it simply watches the gateway's own tests. If you prefer, you trigger a test from a KNX button. You decide, site by site. When a test finishes, it reads the result itself. Pass or fail, how many minutes the battery held, how much charge is left. Out of that come two reports, a test report for the emergency fittings, a fault report for the ordinary lamps. You can pull them as a PDF in the browser or have them emailed weekly, monthly, or the moment a test ends. So the logbook the regulations call for builds itself without your effort and always stays current. The application writes each fitting's live state to the building's graphic screen over KNX. On the SCADA view, you read the emergency lighting at a glance. Which fitting is fine, which has a fault or a battery problem, which test came up short. Because it travels as numbers, the screen reads the same in every language. It also counts up the faults across the site and puts those totals on the screen, so whoever is responsible sees the overall health in a single look. When a fault or a failed test comes up, the application reports it, along with its priority, to Sona Alert Plus. So emergency lighting faults land in the same place as every other alarm in the building. Prioritization, operator acknowledgement, an email summary, a push to the server's own mobile app, and a record that can't be erased all come into play on their own. Sona Emergency Lighting and DALI installs from the automation server store and works in many languages. It keeps a multi-brand site's emergency lighting compliance, the required tests, the records, the fault tracking, in plain sight right on the server, with no system above it and no cloud.